the idea that every culture is equal is nonsense because, I mean, we have benefited so much from immigration from different parts of the world. What's 50 years now since the first Vietnamese boat people, and they've made a wonderful contribution. And yet we were involved in a war that in that country that was very divisive for Australians, it was very divisive for the people of Vietnam. I mean, I'm old enough to know what it was like when the majority of Australians still supported the White Australia policy. And but I think now, Sydney's got a Chinese-derived population of 600,000.
As high as that?
Mm. That's according to the Chinese ambassador to whom I spoke earlier today. I don't agree with him on anything, but I think that's about right. On many things, I'm not saying. The truth is that this country has been a magnet to millions around the world because we have produced our own culture. I mean, a lot of it is we got from the British, and we're very thankful for it. But not all of it. We didn't have the class distinction and all that other stuff we didn't want and was ill-suited. And I think that we made a mistake and it was politically motivated. I think both sides of politics, particularly the Labor Party, saw merit in cultivating support from different ethnic groups. We don't want that.
Particularly when those ethnic groups are unable to leave behind ancient hatred.
Well,
that have no
that is,
place
I mean,
here.
we remember, many older Australians will remember the bitterness that existed in this country based on sectarian divide between Protestants and Catholics, and which of course came from the Anglo-Irish dispute, and of course it morphed into a much wider spectrum, some of the divisions and hatreds of the old Yugoslavia and some of the divisions that came out of with the Sinhalese and the Tamils in the old Ceylon, now Sri Lanka, all of those differences. We don't want them. And John, neither do most of the people who came from those countries.
Well, that's
they don't want them either, and they wanted to be new Australians. In time, the adjective new was dropped because time rendered it irrelevant. But what was wrong with it? What was wrong with being called a new Australian?
The bandying around by the left of terms like Islamophobia. Oh, you're an Islamophobia. Well, we need to be very wary of that. There's been a fair bit of that in Britain, and it turns out that it's covered up some truly dreadful behaviour.
Some of those terrible things. But
I mean, real Islamophobia would be a terrible and unwarranted thing. But to use that as a term to shut down debate, to justify...
this idea that you can't condemn anti-Semitism without simultaneous...
That's my point, really.
Condemning Islamophobia is ridiculous because I'm not aware of that, and God forbid it should ever happen, that Islamic places of worship should be desecrated. I mean, I can remember when we sent our forces to the Middle East and they were going to come up against potentially military units in Muslim countries, appealing to Australians not to exhibit any hostility at all to Islamic people in our own midst. And I actually said they were a treasured part of our community and entitled to respect because I was conscious of danger. Now, I find any attempt at the moral equivalence, or you can't condemn one without that, that's ridiculous. I mean, the fact is that October the 7th, 2023, saw the murder of the largest number of Jewish people since the Holocaust. Nothing at all of that. And it stood in its own right, if I can put it that way, as a modern act of pure genocidal evil.
Yes.
And it should be, and it was a mistake of the government and many people not to condemn it in those terms from the very beginning.